everyone, I'm Damian Holbert from TV Guide Magazine and TV Insider, and I am sitting here talking with Chris Chalk from the new HBO series Perry Mason. Definitely not your grandmother's Perry Mason.
Not even close to your grandmother's Perry Mason.
Yeah.
It honors it. Like it's honorific. You'll see in the first season, if you've read the canon of books, we use a lot of those references in this first case just to help the older audience be familiar. But 5 minutes in, you go, no.
Yeah.
Well, first off, you see people of color, and you're like, can't possibly be.
So, people of color in the 30s.
Exactly. Yeah, we didn't exist then on TV.
Yeah. And it's so like because of the setting. It's in 1930s. But it's got this gritty and I don't want to say it's a gritty reimagining, but it is. This would be a hard R if it was a movie.
Yeah, it would definitely be a hard R, even though it keeps a light tone. I find it really, and maybe you do too, I found it fascinating how Tim Van Patten, incredible leader and director, was able to make it light, but we're dealing with awful, awful things. I mean, not too light, not comic. It's not comic at all, but it's very much human.
Yeah. And Perry is he's got a likability to him. He's a totally broken man, but he's got a likability. But as we get in the second episode where we meet your character, Paul Drake, it's already getting to a layer of this is all messed up.
Well, it's like we keep the show. It does a great job of just revealing society to itself, right? We meet Perry. It's great. Oh, this guy, he's got a hard time, and then you hear him say awful things. You see him do awful things, and you go, wait, we're watching a human transform into a good guy. It's really just an origin story for how essentially Della, Paul, and Perry clean up their BS
right.
to form a team form this triangle at the end if they make it.
And when we meet Paul, I mean, he's actually the upstanding one.
Yeah.
He's
good guy.
He's a good beat cop.
And I think that, in the 30s, what positions of power existed for people of color, but they're very few. They're very few and far between. So to be a cop and not a porter is huge. To not be cleaning up somebody's poop, to not be sweeping the floor, to be employed, period, but also to be at least in the community, at least in our community on our side of the town. I'm top of the top shelf, you know what I mean? Not the peak, but I'm pretty well respected for having and as Black people were, really well respected for having great jobs. And that's it. That was supposed to be it.
Right.
It's beat cop, great gig, we're done.
You're done, right? You've peaked here. Now, the crazy thing is watching Paul's experience with his white coworkers in the station.
Yeah.
90 years ago, stuff has not changed.
Damien, we filmed this last year and a little bit of this year, 2019 and 2020. And the question often is is it crazy that it's running parallel? Well, no, it's not crazy that it's running parallel. Anyone who paid attention knows the work, technology has advanced, but unfortunately, racism, homophobia, sexism, the people who are committed to being evil, they're committed, and they're doubling down right now, and that was the 30s. People who were just if you keep it out my face, I won't use the N-word. But if I see one, I'm going to say it, you know what I mean? And that's what it feels like now.
Right. The paperwork has gotten easier to file in 90 years. But so when people say systemic racism 90 years ago, this was happening in the
Yeah, it's a weird thing to see. In the 30s, the system's in place, and it's already doing a great job of keeping power where power wants to be. It's awful.
At what point does Paul start to really kind of intersect with Della and Perry?
Well, I think in episode 2, when he finds a case which is the case, I don't think I'm revealing any big secrets. There is a case in the season, and it is an awful case, and you will see it. The opening frame is oh boy, this is really
not what I was expecting.
Exactly. It's not, it's a little tough.
Yeah.
And Paul happens to be running parallel in his neighborhood where there should only be brown people crimes, Blacks, Asians, Latinx. That's what I can deal with.
Right.
And I can only deal with it up to a point. And then I find a case where they go, this is an interesting case. You want to get involved? And it's like, no, please. But Paul already knows too much, unfortunately. So as he is pulled in, you meet the Ennis character, the Holcomb character. And then as he pulled in deeper, you meet Perry Mason. And Perry, for some reason, is hell-bent on breaking the status quo and wants everybody around him to do the same thing. And it's a tough thing to do when you're a calm. It's a weird thing. It runs parallel to all of our life, in all of our struggles. The people who are like, just let me, like, my struggle was getting to this point. Leave me alone.
Right.
Somebody else can fight the good fight. Somebody else can do this. Somebody else can hold, protest signs. But I'm a policeman, and I did it. I did my civil duty. And Perry's like, you got more to do. And Paul then has to decide, is there a greater good to his existence?
So congratulations again, and we will talk to you later, all right? And don't forget, guys, Perry Mason on HBO starts June 21st.
Go watch it.